Hey guys, so we've got something very exciting today. A while back, a company named Spelab reached out to me and asked me to work with them. They have a lot of stuff. I mean, they've got everything performance-wise as far as diesel trucks go. What they wanted to send me was a 5-inch exhaust for my Duramax that I've got here behind me. They sent me that, and I got it in the mail, and went to go put it all together one day, and I had a part that wasn't quite made right, I guess. It was this one right here, which is where it takes, there's an elbow that comes off of your downpipe and runs back here. And then this attaches to that and expands it from 4-inch to 5-inch and runs 5-inch all the way to the back of the truck. This part, for some reason, was made wrong. And this part right here was expanded, just like this end here is. I don't know if you can tell by looking at it. But this part was also expanded, which it was not supposed to be, because the other end that it attaches to is also expanded, and they weren't going to work. So anyway, they wound up sending me the correct part after I sent them measurements and everything and showed them that that part was I don't know, a flaw. It was flawed, I guess. And they sent me this part free of charge. And so we're going to go ahead and try to put this exhaust on today. I'm going to go through it with you guys step by step. Of course, it's an exhaust. It's not too hard to explain. I've never actually done an exhaust myself other than messing with the one that I've got on the truck now. But it's very simple. It's something that anybody can figure out without having instructions. But we're going to go ahead and go through it anyway. And we'll see what it sounds like when it's done, because they also sent me a 5 to 6-inch exhaust tip that we're also going to put on the truck. It's going to run all the way to the back and outside. First step is going to be taking out the old exhaust, but we're going to go through that step by step with you guys today. Super excited, so let's get this going. It's been a long time coming. Okay guys, so the first step we're going to do here, it just makes it much simpler. You can probably install this exhaust without doing it, but it makes it so much simpler. Is we're going to take this inner fender liner out, because it's a lot easier to just reach right in here and get to that clamp that clamps your exhaust and your downpipe together. Okay guys, so we finally have the inner fender liner out, and I've got my light on here so you guys can see, but this is the clamp I'm talking about right here. Downpipe, and this is your exhaust. It makes it so much easier to reach to that right there if you just take that liner out. Just takes a few minutes, but we're going to start on this end of the exhaust. First, we have to unclamp this bed stack and get it out from the truck, and then start working on the exhaust up to the rest of it. Now this is a little different from what you would experience if you had a factory exhaust or just a regular exhaust under there that you were going, to replace. For a regular exhaust underneath the truck like this, it's just hung on little exhaust hangers all the way down through there. They're just little rubber deals. You just slip that off the little arm that reaches up that's attached to the exhaust, and then just twist each joint apart. Just twist it back and forth. Little WD-40 helps. If you have a factory exhaust and it's been on there for a long time, maybe rusted together, and you can't slip them apart like that, I'm not even sure how a factory exhaust looks. It might not even be put together like that, but if it's that bad, you could just, as long as you don't plan on keeping it, just cut it with a Sawzall or something, and into pieces, and just take it out of there that way. But we're going to go ahead and get started on this this bed stack here. So guys, one of the reasons I'm doing this here in the grass in my backyard is to show you just how easy it is to take out an old exhaust and install a new one. You don't need a big fancy shop for that. You just need an impact. You don't even need an impact. You could use a wrench or a socket set if you needed to. It's super simple. Just a couple different sizes of these. Don't excuse my chrome pieces, but I don't think this is going to make enough power to bust one of these. I just don't have the set for an actual impact. But yeah, it's super simple here. It's also more comfortable for me to lay on the grass to get under here than it is to lay in my gravel driveway. So we're going to go ahead and get the rest of this exhaust out. We're going to start with the elbow back here and work our way to the front. Okay guys, so I have the entire new exhaust laid out here in front of me. One of the things I like about this is just how shiny and clean it looks compared to the one I took out. And also their band clamps here are pretty nice, and they're like polished. So I imagine that'll stay that way. Shouldn't rust. But we're going to go ahead and put this together. They did send me a muffler with this kit, which is a great big polished deal. And it still had, like, the inside of it was that big around. It was a 5-inch hole right through the middle, but it just had the whatever around the inside of it to make it to muffle the sound. I'm not really curious to see what this thing would sound like with a muffler on it, so I'm not even going to bother putting the muffler. They send this piece here, which is an extra piece. I'm assuming it's either to replace the muffler, or it's to add to the exhaust if you have a 8-foot bed, which is very possible. So what I'm going to attempt to do is just not put the muffler in and put this piece in instead. Like I said, I'm not curious to see what this thing sounds like with a muffler on it at all. So I do know what it sounds like with a 5-inch exhaust, and these Duramaxes sound fantastic that way. I'm super excited to see whether or not this 5 to a 6-inch tip that they sent with it actually makes it sound any different. So we're going to go ahead and get started by first putting in this piece right here, which is the elbow that goes up to the downpipe. I'm going to go ahead and throw these two together because there's no point in trying to put this together when it's underneath the truck when you could just put it together up here. It's very simple. One end is smaller than the other. They fit together. And when you go to put them together, you put the clamp over it, put that piece in there, hit it with your frickin' impact, tighten that down, and that piece is good to go. Okay, so after I got those two pieces put together, I had to recruit some help because getting that first piece in required a second set of hands, and it just made it much easier. It's possible to get it done by yourself, but it just makes it easier. So I went ahead and threw all the other pieces together. Everything slid together really easy. And then for the last little piece that I had going over the axle right here, I had to get some help again just to hold it in place while I clamped it down. And of course the elbow slid right in. It was no problem at all. It took a bit of maneuvering, but we got it in pretty easy. We are now down to the final part. I will give you a little tip with this piece right here. You've got to twist your exhaust to get the angle you want. I could get this to where it was coming more out the back if I wanted to. You just got to adjust all those the last two pieces on your exhaust when you go put them together. But I kind of wanted mine coming almost straight out, which it's leaning back just slightly, but it's mostly straight out, which is what I wanted. We're going to go ahead and slide this beautiful exhaust tip, which I accidentally set down on some gravel while I was storing this, waiting to put it in, and I chipped the paint on it. So ignore that if you notice that. But otherwise, a beautiful tip. This is like a stainless steel plate that they put on the outside with their name on it. Faces the rear. I think it's pretty. If I want my exhaust tip to sit like right here like this, I'm going to have to trim some of that off, which is fine. I'll just have to get my grinder out with a cutting wheel and cut that off real quick. Okay guys, remember when you're doing stuff like this, always put safety glasses on. You don't want to hurt yourself. Once you get that bolt on this exhaust tip so tight, because it's so close to the edge, your socket's not going to work. So I'm going to attempt to get the rest of it tight with a wrench. Anyway, she's on there, guys. Well, the only thing to do now is start her up and see what she sounds like. So after what surprisingly to me was a process that was very short and with zero problems, we finally have the exhaust back in the truck. We got our inner fender put back in and the fender flare. If you guys know me, if you watch my YouTube videos, I try a lot of things on my truck. I try to do a lot of things myself, and most of the time when I do things, even the simplest of things, seems like I always run into issues where I'm stumped and it takes me like 2 or 3 hours to finally figure it out. And then when I finally figure it out, I'm mad at myself because it was a simple fix. I should have known that, but I didn't. Anyway, that or just stuff I get just doesn't work and whatever. A lot quieter on this side of the truck. But yeah, this was flawless. Like, I did not have a problem with a single part of this. It all went together very well. Love the sound of the exhaust back coming out the side there. It makes it a lot quieter in the cab than that bed stack was. I don't really think the 6-inch tip changes the tone too much. I don't know. Let me give it a second listen here. You might hear a little bit more of a growl, because I used to have a 5-inch exhaust on this thing. I think it was an MBRP, which was about, you know, it was a good exhaust too. The only complaint I have there is their clamps are somewhat difficult to use, and their clamps are also made out of straight, just regular steel, and so they rust, and then they get seized up, and it's hard to get the exhaust back out if you ever want to mess with it. This, however, all the clamps are stainless steel, including the exhaust itself. This is probably by far my favorite exhaust setup as far as driving this thing, because it's the quietest. It sounds really good right back here where the exhaust is, but you go anywhere else around the truck, it's quiet, especially in the cab. This is the quietest version of an exhaust that you can run. Even though it's a 5-inch exhaust, which is very loud, you don't hear it much in the actual cab itself. I can get in here and show you guys. All the windows are shut. So I'm in the cab now. Here, let me shut the AC off. That's making noise. I can hear the engine behind the dash before I hear that exhaust. all you hear is like like if this thing had like a stock exhaust on it where it doesn't really make any noise out the end of the exhaust, and you can hear that motor up under the hood. That's all I hear right now. I don't hear that growl back there. There's no drone. Everybody's worried about that drone that it makes, and oh, a 5-inch straight pipe, it's going to be so drony I won't be able to handle it. Not at all. I ran a 5-inch exhaust out the side like that for 3 years, I think. I drove from Missouri all the way to the state of New York and back. Didn't bother me a bit. I'm going to turn the AC back on. It's a hot day today. Anyway, so if you guys saw like sweat spots on my shirt, whatever, while I was working, just ignore that. It was hot. Of course, having a new stainless steel exhaust under the truck just makes it look shiny and new, and you know, just makes it look better. I love the look of a brand new exhaust. Spelab, great exhaust. So easy to put in, guys. It was so easy. This thing, I literally had the entire exhaust in. It took me longer to get the old exhaust out than it did to put the new one in. It was like an hour, and I had the entire thing in. And I did this by myself. I had my wife come out and hold a piece for me a time or two, because on one of them I had to have somebody down under the truck to hold the piece, and then I had to be up here working, you know, tightening a clamp down. And the same with the axle. I had to have a person on the other side of the axle so that you know, something was steady for me. But honestly, you could get this in by yourself. It might take a little bit extra time, but guys, super simple, super easy. Absolutely love the exhaust. Recommend them, highly recommend them. I think I'm gonna go and put the Spelab logo on the side of my door. What do you guys think? Add another sponsor here to the side. We've only got 3 right now. What do you think about adding Spelab to the front of that back door? Might do it. Alright guys, well, that's it for today's video. Like I said, absolutely love this exhaust. Man, it just looks so good. You have that shiny stainless steel exhaust under there. It just makes it look new and fresh. I love the look of it. It's like getting new powder on your truck. But alright guys, well anyway, I do have another sponsorship coming up soon. I think I mentioned it in a TikTok here not too long ago, or on Snapchat. But I have another sponsorship coming for this truck. and that will be my next YouTube video, I believe, because I'm going to be doing the installation process and unboxing and all that stuff. Not going to announce what it is or the company that I'm working with, but that is coming up next. But anyway, guys, I believe that's it for me. We will catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.